Kia ora everybody, welcome back to Kōrero with Creators. Today's guest is actually an artist that I found more recently, and I instantly fell in love with his exceptionally clean and technically advanced style, which is something that I'm a big fan of when it comes to the artistic side of Moko. Te rako mahuta, aka on socials, Moko Ahurewa. Kia ora, brother, welcome in.
Oh, te rako my bro. Privileged to be here, my bro. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. Now, I'm always being asked about Moko, and I try to tell people that the answers lie with the very people who upkeep this taonga, you guys, the Moko artists. So I wanted to give my platform to Moko artists to hopefully give some clarity regarding these traditions and to particularly focus on how they are affected by the age of social media and online spaces. I really want the audience to see the variation in ideologies across these episodes, so absolutely be as honest as you can towards yourself. But firstly, introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are.
Me. Kia ora tātou. Ko taupiri te maunga, ko waikato te awa. Ngāti whawhākia, ngāti mahutanga hapu. Grew up in a small town called Ngarua Wahia, the nation's capital in my eyes. But, ko te rako mahuta tōku ingoa. Kia ora mapu.
Now, firstly, just to kick us off, I would love to hear your definition or interpretation of Moko. You know, what has Moko meant and does Moko mean to you?
Moko, that's a good question, my bro. Personally, Moko to me is means a lot in terms of how we identify ourselves, but also what it can mean to us and what it does for us. As people, as individual, and as hapori as a group, where we come from. But to me, bro, it's that special thing that is, I suppose, how do I say, it's the physical thing that we can wear to show, not just identify, but, that makes us feel us.
Yes.
And, if that makes sense, brother.
Yeah, perfect. Now, I see, I've found you relatively recently, but I don't know much about your history with the art form, and the practicing of what got you started. How did you get into doing Moko?
Oh, well, bro. So Moko itself, apart from being on the tools, bro, started, I don't know, probably as a young fella.
Right.
My upbringing from a humble beginning, bro, in a small town, but very rich in culture. Lucky enough to go to Kura Kaupapa Wharekura, Koanga as a young fella. So I grew up, te ao Māori was part of life. Very lucky there. So Moko started before tools, was more involvement at Kura, I suppose, bro, to be honest. Being involved with haka.
Yep.
Haka was probably the thing that connected me to Moko initially. Performing at haka, and then obviously your peers, everyone's drawing on each other before group go and perform, and that's where the passion of Moko first started, or the interest in Moko itself. And then from there, as you grow older, I actually consider like being a practitioner started quite late, I reckon, compared to, being introduced to it in the terms of at school and all of that. But I was lucky enough, bro, like I designed plenty of Moko on paper for people who wanted pieces done, but I couldn't do the tattooing side of things. So I'd design it on paper and hand it over. And then 2010, bro, was my first Moko.
Nice.
Had lucky enough to be, had a lot of people around me growing up. One of my main sort of ones I looked up to was my art teacher, Richard Francis, also known as Toiariki, based in Te Arawa there. He was my art teacher, or art teacher at school, but also my peers. They were heavily involved in art. Then fast forward back to when I first picked up a gun. I had one of my other bros. He's an artist now, Mark Weimer. The bro, he sort of helped me, encouraged me to pick up the gun. Took me ages to pick up the gun.
Right.
It was a bit of a out of it one. Big responsibility, I thought, to pick up the gun and just start tattooing someone.
Right.
And then you think about the you think about all the things that could possibly go wrong, and you don't want to be, you don't want to mark the bro wrong or mess it up or whatever. Anyway, I was lucky enough, bro. One of my good work bros, Justin, he said, "Oh, bro, I'll be your first one." And from there, I was just like, "Oh, you sure?" But just at home, bro. Humble as at home in my room. And then, he put his hand up and said, "I'll be your first one." And then from there, bro, I did my first one, got a lot of confidence out of it, like in terms of picking up the machine.
Yeah.
And then from then on, bro, you just go hard. All the whānau friends, who wants moko? And then that's how practice started, bro. So that's where it started for me, brother.
Nice. And so, I mean, that's actually not, in terms of a length of practicing time, that's coming up on 14 years, so it's not, you say late, but, you've still been in the game for over a decade now. And so obviously you love it, what's your favorite thing about doing moko for people? What keeps you coming back every time?
As a practitioner, there's moko is, so there's obviously the visual side of moko and the artistic side of moko, but for me, bro, it's a good feeling when you can help someone. And moko is, I see it as a very helping and healing thing for a lot of people. And that feeling when you're in the studio together and you share that connection, when you complete that and then you have a kōrero, you share the kōrero, you explain, and then after what you've been through with the kaiwhiwhi, that feeling is, bro, it's unreal. That's the ticket for me, bro, is that feeling that you've, that good service, like you've done a good deed,
Yeah,
it's helping people, bro. That's the best feeling, because straight up.
I can only imagine, because I know what it's like to be on the receiving end of it, and that emotion and that sort of power that's behind it for a recipient, I can only imagine what it's like to be the ones to give it to people. Now, this whole kōrero, of course, is about, the whole series started because of social media, and I found you because of social media. What's been your personal relationship with social media and online space?
Oh, social media, far out. How do you talk about social media? But my own one, bro, to be honest, it's a space where I'm still learning hard out, to be honest. Like social media is it's a big I don't know, bro. It can be a scary place sometimes, I suppose, if you don't know the know. Social media for me is, how do I put it now? It's relevant.
Yep.
It's a part of today. And then on the short, I suppose it's a form of marketing, advertising your business. That's just being honest.
Yeah.
It's a good way to keep in touch with people, communicate with people. But my own experiences, I'm still learning and navigating through socials, my bro. Even trying to turn the camera on this is, that's a part of it. But so it's still learning, bro, navigating.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot of good things to socials, and there can possibly be some negative sides to socials, but I hope that answers the question, bro. Still learning, but it's all good space, and it's good for small Pākehī like myself and other moko artists to sort of showcase, or just not even showcase, just be there and sort of let people know, so people can see.
Absolutely. And you're right, because there's so many positives and there's so many negatives now. And one thing that we've seen in the past few years, is this rise and popularization of things Māori, and moko has become a part of that. Videos of people. My own video of me getting moko went viral. And it's not a new thing. Moko has been going viral. Things like haka have been going viral. Māori is like, it's all over the place right now. As a moko artist who, if you've seen and witnessed these changes in the popularity of things Māori online, what are your thoughts and feelings about how moko particularly has become very in the forefront for people consuming online?
Oh, bro, I think it's good to always, I look at it straight away and it's a positive, bro. Sharing, for moko, straight away, as soon as you mention moko, you're speaking of Māori and the culture straight away, automatic. So that for me, I look at that as a positive, bro, big time. Yeah, that's like the short way of answering that question. It's definitely positive, bro. Although there can be people have opinions and there could be negative responses and whatnot, but bro, I think it's beautiful, bro, having our culture blasted, so to say, all over socials, and you know, people get to see, although they may not understand fully what, you know, from behind the scenes kind of thing is. Why not showcase our culture?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's beautiful, but positive as.
Yeah, and do you have any particular feelings towards, you know, creators like myself? You know, with these, there's a few of us out there, you know, and we've become sort of known for having moko kanohi on our face, and people, you know, they like to dump, as we know through this series that we've been doing, but they love to dump the questions on us, you know, and quite often we're like, oh well, you know, we're just the ones that got it, you know, we're not the ones that actually give it and necessarily have all this knowledge, but then, you know, people like myself, we still tend to make content and answer what we can. Do you have any feelings about that as the moko artist, like seeing the kaiwhiwhi, I suppose, becoming very popular for a craft that they don't necessarily actually practice and have all the answers for?
Oh, bro, I see that as it's mean what you fellas do, bro, and really all you're really doing is sharing your experience. You know, you don't claim to know everything, that's only seen as a positive, bro, in my eyes. You know, like I said, you don't claim to be, oh, this is how it is, or, you know, nothing like that. It's just sharing.
Right.
And it's very informative, bro, I think, you know. It's for a lot of people that have only known or heard of Māori or anything moko or culture or anything, it can be taken as very informative, and it's choice, bro. I like it.
Yeah, awesome.
You know, I love it. That's good on you. And hey, you fellas got a massive platform, so, you know, why not? That's a good thing to share.
Yeah.
And I know that when you fellas do it, like especially yourself, bro, your intention is, what I gather is just purely to share, you know, your experience, and then you can't say that that's not a good thing.
Right. Yeah, for real.
So yeah, that's mean, bro.
Totally.
Yeah, so no, it's mean, bro. Those all you fellas that do that. And bro, to be able to even speak to the many hundreds of thousands of people that follow you is that's another thing on its own. So
yeah,
that's mean, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, choice. It's
Awesome.
too much.
Now, over the series, you know, and I think don't even know now off the top of my head how many artists I've talked to, but one thing that continues to surprise people is the lack of artists that have moko kanohi themselves. You know, I think people have this idea, you know, we see it with sort of the normal tattoo world, I suppose. You know, lots of tattoo artists, they're covered in tattoos themselves, this kind of thing. So lots of non-Māori are quite surprised that our artists of our tradition don't necessarily even have it done on their face in this context themselves. You know, if you're comfortable sharing, why do you as a moko artist not have moko kanohi yet? You know, what's your journey with our taonga?
Oh, yes, that's another good question, my bro. And I think, you know, the answer to that, or answers you might get, will vary, because it's a very individual thing. Although it's, you know, we as individuals are a part of a community, or the village, so to speak. But hey, things will happen when they're supposed to happen, my bro. My time just hasn't been yet, I suppose. And I believe in that, even with all my mahi that I do, is if things happen, they're meant to happen, bro. You know?
Yeah.
I just think, bro, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen, because, like, no doubt in my mind is I'd love to.
Yeah.
Absolutely love to, bro. And when the opportunity presents itself, I'm sure it'll happen.
Yeah, no, and that's great too. You know? And really the reason I asked that question is because I think lots of the non-Māori particularly, they have this idea that there's a kind of a, you know, maybe like a sort of a checklist thing, and that when people just check the thing off, everyone just kind of gets it for the same reasons, maybe kind of idea, you know. And I say, the point of that question is to show, because you're right, every time that I've asked that question, everybody's got their own, you know, their own reason why. And I'm like, that's a huge part of the journey of moko, is there's not this kind of one set rule about why people get it done, you know. So in the context of you guys, the artists, just being an artist isn't necessarily enough reason for a lot of you guys. Oh, and it's proven to not be, one of the reasons why you just go get it done. So it's more or less for those out there who have this kind of misunderstanding around why we get it done.
Yeah, hard. And and that's understandable too, bro. That's that's all of the surroundings, the environment you're in. Like, people think it's a certain way. Oh, bro, I can veer off on another kaupapa on that one, where that whole sort of the mental side of things.
Right.
But yeah, it's understandable, bro, that people think that way. I might say a word a lot throughout this kōrero, the word colonization, my bro, is, it's things like you have to be a certain level of good to do something or be something, right. Or you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that whole thing is, bro, I can go on and on about that, but you know what I mean, bro.
Too, because I think too, when people go back and if you watch all this particular question, and the different answers to this particular question, I think you might notice that while yes, the reasons, like the specific reasons, do vary quite a lot, for those listening in, it will probably start to make sense that like the big reason for a lot of those little reasons is that word. It's colonization, it's the colonial history to our people, to this art form, is a big reason why most Māori today don't have moko, right? And so that's a goal of the series, is to break down some of those stigmas and misunderstandings, but also because we talk about before things like moko have gotten so viral and they go crazy, I think non-Māori also get this idea that it's a really thriving practice, right? And I'm like, it is doing very well for itself, but we're still in a revival period. It's not back like it used to be, like we still have plenty of Māori who think that they will never get it. People like yourself go, one day, that's good enough. But there are plenty of Māori who are like, I'll never get that done, And I've got family who have passed on that were Māori and proudly Māori, but never enough to take that step, because of what colonization has done. So that's an important element to that question for sure.
Hard out, bro. The whole reason, especially now, and then you look over our history, and even pertaining to that word, so much was taken away, and I do agree, it's still although it's thriving, Moko is thriving, and it's beautiful to see. It's still very much in a, and again, this is my own whakaaro about it, is it's still in the revival, bro, where, yes, in some cases it's normal for some, depending on the environment they're in or where they come from or whatever.
Yes.
It's very normal, but in terms of what you're talking about, the outside, bro, and then being here in Australia, this is a big one, is a lot of people here, this is not to whakaiti anyone or, say anything negative towards anyone, but I've come to learn that being here and being practicing moko here in Australia, a lot of people feel like that, bro, that they have to be a certain a level of something.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Bro, nobody's perfect. Nobody knows everything, bro. I don't even care who you are. You don't know everything.
Yeah.
Like, really, that's the real.
Yep.
Nobody knows everything. And we should learn stuff, always learning. And that whole whakaaro of, a lot of people have even moved here to Aussie because of that, bro.
Right.
Like, maybe there's some whakamā, and I can understand that coming from being in the village back home.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're over here. You can feel how there's a lot of, I'm not worthy enough to get moko or wear moko, whether it's kanohi or anything, bro, on your back or your leg or your anywhere. There's a lot of that, like, I'm not Māori enough. Bro, you see it all the time, bro.
All the time.
It's, that's quite sad, in a way.
It is.
And that's where it's still in that revival, like how we were talking.
Absolutely.
That's very much in that phase.
Yeah.
But it's, bro. There's heaps of that.
Yeah, there definitely is, and that's perfect because that's, that segues us nicely into this next section, because I want a portion of these episodes to be dedicated to the questions that I'm always being asked, over and over and over again, and hopefully over the course of the series they'll be able to see how much or how little variation there can be in the answers, and the main purpose of this section is to break down, these misunderstandings surrounding the practice of moko. Now, your answers can be as simple as yes or no, or in depth as you want, but the thing to take note of, I suppose, answer these as if you were answering somebody who was approaching you as a client, just because that helps, that prevents you from needing to preface every answer with "this is just my opinion," because otherwise the nature of the questions is everyone will go, well, "This is only my opinion," and then answer. I'm like, it'll be like that for every question. So just treat it as if someone was asking, you as an artist, what your take on these questions are. But to kick us off, is moko only for Māori?
Yes. Short answer, bro. I think yes. Moko for Māori, but I think a part of that has to be by a Māori, well, by default.
Yep.
It can only be by a Māori really anyway, Yeah, that's the short answer, Māori.
Nice. And being based overseas, I imagine that you get approached by a lot of non-Māori. Is kirituhi a part of your business, or do you just kind of keep that out of it?
Yeah, no, it is, bro.
Yep.
It is. Bro, to be honest, like, that's a lot of that is sort of asked for here.
Right.
So kirituhi to me is it's another form of moko.
Right.
And I believe that, and I'm happy to share that with non-Māori.
Right.
But I think it's just, how do you say? Yeah, short answer, bro. Yes, kirituhi, I do practice that.
Yep.
And I do have kōrero with people, and being here in Aussie, I do get approached a lot, and I have done a fair bit of kirituhi.
Yep.
It's the name really is like another class of moko.
Yep.
Obviously the artistic side of things is moko.
Yep.
So it looks the same as moko.
Yep.
So, but yeah, that answers the question, bro.
Yeah,
definitely.
Now, a terminology sort of mix up that I see a lot is, when I'm talking about moko in my content, I just use moko. I very rarely will say tā moko. So that confuses a lot of people. This one's particularly from the perspective of Māori. Like, Māori get very confused because lots of people refer to it as tā moko. What is your understanding of the terminology?
Oh, bro, I've always kind of said just moko. Rolls off the tongue easy, but you can probably break it down. Moko is what it is, bro. It's moko. Tā moko to me is the doing of moko.
Yes.
So just in, like, when you're conversating and you're talking of it, you don't really want to say you're talking of the doing of moko.
Right.
That's just how I see it, and like in a basic way.
Right.
So the words tā moko and moko is that's the difference for me.
Right.
But moko is just, it's like it just rolls out easier, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
It's moko. You're speaking of moko, and that's the thing you're talking about. It's not the doing of moko. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And that's my understanding too, but it's one of those things that it confuses a lot of people.
Yeah, and I've had bro, it's funny, like, me being on where I am, I'm holding the gun, and I get people tell me,
right.
I've had people, I should say, that is, it's tā moko, and I'm like, kapai, hey, you want to call it that, it's all good.
Right.
But I'll just say moko.
Right.
So I've had those too.
Yeah. Now, we mentioned a little bit before, how often you get especially living overseas, I'm not good enough, I'm not Māori enough, and things like that. And a part of that whole conversation normally comes from a lot of people who have mixed whakapapa, this part Māori idea. And one of the questions that comes with that is, am I allowed to get moko if I'm only part Māori?
Short answer again, bro, is yeah, bloody yes.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? hey, in terms of if you're Māori, you're Māori, bro. Whether you got a teardrop of blood or what, you know. But see that even that again is. I also believe in. I know a lot of people and a lot of tupuna that have what's the Pākehā word, adopted non-Māori into the culture or their whānau, and in turn they're seen as Māori and a part of their whānau. So, you know what I mean? It's not just well, most definitely it's a blood thing, whakapapa thing, absolutely. But yes, bro. I hope that makes sense to you.
Perfect. Now, another thing that we see as well is this. I feel like this question predominantly comes from people who are younger than me. I'm 24, so we're probably talking like teenagers or, you know, like young people tend to ask me this question a lot. But it's the idea that you have to get permission from your elders, you know, to receive moko. What's your take? Do you have to get permission from your elders in order to receive moko?
Generally speaking, I would say, nah, you wouldn't have to. But again, it depends, bro. When it comes to moko, everything is case by case.
Yes.
You know, it's very individual, and you know, I can't speak of everyone, but some people might have tikanga within their own whānau and their own rohi and iwi that's a part of their process.
Yes.
So, you know, that might be a part of how they do it. So in that case, well, you have to go and do what your tikanga, you know, have showed. But yeah, generally, bro, bro, I don't say you have to go and get permission. And that's, bro, that thing there is a part of that word I was talking about before. I reckon is a big part of that whole. We have to tick boxes and jump through hoops. You know, that's how we've been brought up these days, or from certain generations ago. Hey.
And that's right. It's a big part of these questions in general. You know, the misconceptions, a lot of them are the byproduct of colonial history.
And that's bro, that's probably every question you can sort of go back to something like that, and I probably will just to try and give some understanding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so for that one there, bro, is getting permission. Nah, bro, you don't have to get permission, bro. But hey, if it's going to help you by seeking support from your loved ones and whānau, by all means, go and have that kōrero and that wānanga with them, eh? Like, and who am I to say to be that yes or no person?
Right.
Do you know what I mean, bro? It's just more of an encouraging. And I try and make them feel like, how do you feel about this?
Right.
What is your desire about moko when it comes to that? Do I need permission?
Right.
You know, how do you feel about it? And then if it comes across as, well, I feel like I need to talk to my thing, then we'll go down there.
Right.
Hey, we'll start talking about, then might be a good thing to have a kōrero with your, whether it be your mum or your nanny or your whatever. But
absolutely.
And
I think that's, you know, and those three words, case by case, I think that's something that people who have tuned into every interview, that's a phrase that will be very, very familiar now, because I think that's been one of the really important parts of these wānanga that I've been having with the artists, is because, like I said, I think a lot of people have this idea that there's this kind of one size fits all, one rule of, you know, one set of rules and checklists. But that phrase, case by case, has been a very, very consistent phrase, you know, where it's like that's how individual the process of moko is for people these days, that there isn't just this you know, one size fits all glove. And that's the point of these questions too, is like you said, to put a bit of perspective, put a bit of history behind where these ideas come from, and to break them down. And like, yes, if you wish to pursue that thing, you know, asking permission from your elders, then you do it. But for those that are being held back because of these things, you know, it's like that opportunity to be like, well, it's not a must do. If you want to, absolutely go for it, you know, and but you don't have to, you know.
Hard out, bro. And see, that whole thing of whakaro of, oh shit, do I have to?
Right.
Like, I need to get that tick of approval.
Yes.
Like, bro, that's not how we roll as Māori.
Right.
You know? And then, because you're speaking of moko automatic, bro, it's Māori, it's culture, it's tikanga straight away. So that's not, I truly believe, and I'm certain that our people it's all about sharing love and positivity. So we would not hold anyone back from trying to do something or achieve or get something, like, in this terms of moko, it'll be encouraged.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
But it'll be, to have some wānanga, have some kōrero, absolutely. But permission, bro, nah.
Yeah, mean. Now, this one's pretty straightforward. How old do you have to be to get moko? Moko on below the neck, moko on the face. You know, there's lots of ideas that you have to be really old for things like moko kanohi, but what's the reality? You know, how does it work for you?
Oh, yeah, well, again, for me, bro, that's a different thing. I don't really see it as a has to be. You know, there's, hey, me tūpato au ngā kupu, but here in Australia, there's laws, you know, and I'm sure there's laws everywhere in the world of an age limit.
Yep.
So from that point of view, well, that's the rule.
Yep.
Whatever the law is. But for me personally, and I know this is the case because I was moko at 15 years old.
Right.
And I didn't have a problem with that. Hey, when I got my moko, bro, we were all at the classroom from our teacher.
Right.
In the art class on a Saturday at school. You know, very, but yeah, that's not seen as, I don't know, now it might be frowned upon, I don't know, but very much normal for me, cuz, and I don't have any problem. Hey, you know, that's from inside.
Yes.
You know, as long as there's obviously if there's, if you've had kōrero with your whānau, and to be safe, you've got to sort of have that discussion with caretakers or parents. Right. You know what I mean? Right. In terms of, but I don't really put, obviously you won't go and do some tamariki that hasn't even grown up yet.
Right,
but, hey, I don't really want to specify an age and then say that's it. It's not really like that. Bro, even mine, I got tamariki, bro. She was 16. Right. You know? But again, there's something people won't understand.
Yeah.
But it's not to say that you have to be this age or that age, you know. As a father, I'm sure I know what's going on.
Right.
Hey, so, but yeah, I hope that answers, bro.
Yeah, perfect.
That's a really good question. Yeah, that one. It's a really good question.
Now, this one here is probably for us Māori who are even, you know, entertaining the idea of receiving moko. This question might be the number one barrier, restriction that we put on ourselves as Māori. The idea that you have to be fluent in te reo Māori in order to get moko. This particularly pertains to moko kanohi. What's your opinions?
Wow. Particularly to moko kanohi, I can't really speak much on that because I don't have it myself.
Right.
Generally, moko. So your question was towards moko kanohi. Again, hey, look, do you have to know it? Why does it have to be something you have to achieve first? Again, and that same, going back to that same kōrero of you have to tick the box first. I very much believe in, hey, if it can help you kickstart your journey, why not? I'm all for that, hey, you know. And bro, being here in Australia again, moko kickstarts a lot of wānanga for people.
Yes.
Or, you know, it starts their journey for people. It's a starting point, bro, and that's, you know, me personally, I believe that's more powerful than achieve and tick the box and then get it.
Right.
You know, that's a tool that can be, or something that can inspire you to go and get it.
Yes.
Then, you know, so that's how I feel about that, bro. Is about especially pertaining to being fluent in Māori. Bro, heaps of people are not fluent in Māori.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So how is it? Even probably a lot of again, hara tēnei te mea whakaiti to our artists out there, but a lot of us artists, and I can say that truly, not many are fluent.
Right.
Hey, there's just being fair.
Yeah.
So how can it be looked at? So this is for the outsiders.
Yes.
Is how, you know, how should it be that the one who wants to wear it, the kaiwhiwhi, needs to be able to speak Māori. That's how I see it, bro.
That's a really awesome way to put it too, in a perspective that we haven't actually heard yet. And you know, I think you're right in the sense, one thing that we've seen, and I don't know where this has happened, in the timeline of things Māori, but this shift where moko has become the end goal, like you say, it's become this thing that people see as the thing that you do at the very end of the list and not something that follows you through your journey to tick your own personal list. We look at our tupuna, this is where the age question came back, they were getting it started young, and then by the time they were old, finishing it off, like the moko is a lifelong journey, and we've got this idea now that maybe because of the way that we can get it done in you can sit down for a day, get your whole face done because of modern technology, maybe people have this idea now that amongst all the other factors, it's now just something that you do at the end of the list. I'm like, no, it's it can follow you through.
Bro, hard out. And then see, bro, again, going back to that kōrero of when you, bro, how do you, like living in today, let's talk about today's age or society. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks a certain way because that's how we've been molded, or so to say, But when it comes to Māori, bro, there's no hiding the fact things were taken off us. It was, our culture was, they tried, mm-hmm. They tried to get rid of it.
Yep.
Hey, that's been the truth. So when those generations went through all of that mama, things were lost.
Yep.
So, and then the ideas that were being forced onto us, and that's any tangata whenua throughout the world.
Yep.
When that happens, a certain mentality will come about of, and then when it's comes to a certain point, it's like, oh no, that serves you no good,
right?
Or you can't do that yet because that's what's been put into you,
right?
So I think that's where all of this, you have to be this and that, bro. If there was a standard of you have to be this and that in Māori before you get anything, bro, not many people will have Māori.
Right.
That's the simple way of putting it. So yeah, it's just, again, it goes back to that case by case, bro. You have your own thing, and it's encouraged, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, encourage it. Get out there. Let it be a part of your journey instead of being the end goal. Bro, that's one of the many powers of moko.
Yes.
Is that side of being able to help someone.
Yes.
Within themselves and what they gain from moko, and it's going to help them do this and that. Bro, sometimes you can't even explain that feeling people have.
Yeah.
I don't wear moko kanohi, but for even a moko that I have on my body, you know what it feels like.
Yes.
Not to compare it to the face. I don't know nothing about that, but all those things, bro. Yeah. So
now, I double checked with you at the beginning, that you are in fact based in Australia, because that's a big part, and like we've already kind of touched on before, there's a lot of Māori that live in Australia, but I get messages from a lot of the Māori who live in Australia, like, do I have to come home to New Zealand in order to get moko, and I'm like, well, there's plenty of artists over there, so I'm sure the answer seems self-explanatory, but just to make it painfully obvious, do you have to get moko in New Zealand?
Well, hey, if you want to spend heaps of money on your flight and your accommodation, then go home and get it, but short answer is, bro, you don't have to go home to get it, bro. But hey, if it means something to you to go to a certain place back home and get it for you, then by all means, hey, kei a koe tēnā.
Absolutely.
But it's not a have to, my bro. That's the short answer. It's not a requirement.
And have you had any issues like from the Māori that are here? Like is any sort of backlash about practicing in not our whenua kind of thing?
Nah, not at all, bro. Not had one issue. Even if there has been, or somebody's said something, I've not taken any notice if there is. But to be honest, I can't recall any sort of backlash or anything like that. But even with that, without sounding like a ratchet fella, it's like, who cares what they think, bro?
Yeah,
I know my intention, bro, and what I'm up to with my moko. So, and it's, I'm not doing it like ignorantly or anything like that. You know what I mean? Yep. I know what moko means to me and when I practice it, what I'm trying to do. with people. And that's the big one, bro. Just taking it away from the tattooing side of it is, what you're doing with when you're working with kaiwhiwhi is all of that. That's a big part of doing the moko too. And that's, but yeah, no, I don't get flack because, but hey, happy to answer some questions if anyone has any pātai around that, being a practitioner over here. It's all good, but yeah, hope that answers that question.
Yeah. Now, sort of, this question probably coincides quite a lot with, this idea of not being Māori enough, part Māori, general disconnection as a byproduct of colonization, but people ask me all the time, I don't know my whakapapa, can I still get moko?
Well, this can vary and go off in heaps of different ways, bro, but to try and make it like, for people to simply get it is, you can, I would say, for me, myself, as someone practicing the moko, I would say yes, but I would encourage, moko, even a part of my process, moko doesn't happen without a kōrero anyway, bro.
Right.
So amongst those, those kōrero, what's the word? Consultation, all of that, you start to gain, where they're at with that, pertaining to do they know their whakapapa but I can tell you, probably a lot of people don't know their whakapapa, bro.
Right.
Hey, and there's probably some people who live home and never left home.
Yes. Probably
are the same. As brown as they are or whatever, as rugged as they speak, a lot of people don't know that, bro, But, so, although I would still look at doing mahi with someone who doesn't know their whakapapa, I would definitely encourage that.
Yes.
And we will talk about that. And then again, if that's an issue for them, it becomes quite clear, and they've made it clear themselves that, shit, I actually want to go this way first.
Yep.
So, see, you've helped in that way as well before even doing moko. So, that's where that kōrero part of the moko process is key, bro, and that's on our side too. Like, you don't want to just jump into anything and not know anything about the kaiwhiwhi but certainly encourage them, bro, if they don't know anything.
Yep.
But to be honest, even living here in Australia, bro, and this is a big again, is there's a hunger here for, I've noticed here in Australia, there's a hunger that people want to reconnect and find out about their whakapapa and where they come from. Like, there's a genuine hunger here, bro. It's crazy. And I love that, And then so with people, I can only speak of the people that have come to me for mahi. And there's probably only 1 or 2 cases where they've not known anything about where they come from, bro.
Right.
But you'll have a kōrero again, and then again, you lead that comes out, and out of their own sort of talking to you, they find out what path they want to, where they want to go with it.
Yep.
And then they eventually come back, and I found this one, even if it's one name that they've found later on, bro, that's me.
Yep.
You've started to do something for yourself. Even if you don't have moko yet, you've helped yourself. Yeah. So, I hope that didn't go off on a tangent too much more, bro, but
now, this question might be relatively straightforward. It's been one of the more straightforward answers from everybody else I've interviewed so far. But is moko, particularly moko kanohi, only for chiefs?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. Straight away.
It's just been one of those ones, and that one I'm not entirely sure, when I get asked this question, I'm not entirely sure it's coming too much anymore from Māori, this is a question that I think I get more often from non-Māori, and it's one of those things, when you Google moko, the first thing that shows up is it was only for the most paramount of chiefs and this all kind of stuff, but this is all, text that you find has been written by non-Māori, so you go, but it's become a big part of the iconography or the representation of Māori for lots of people. But it's been one of those ones. I think nearly every artist is just like, nah.
Bro. And again, this whole show is to sort of put some information out there for people who are just looking in. bro, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
That's how it's been a little bit. But, you know, it's not a, nah. It's one of those, bro. Like, but obviously from the outside, with that whole kōrero back to you have to be a certain something.
Yes.
See? You can always go back to that, bro.
Yep.
And then if that's how we lived as people, then we wouldn't have anything we have. Hey.
Yep.
So, yeah, nah. You don't have to be no chief, bro. But hey, and again, some ways, everyone is a chief in their own right.
Yes. Yeah, that's
brother,
a sentiment that has been shared from a few artists too, you know, like it's about the idea that moko is a symbol of, you know, being a good person, nobility, which for those writing about it in a time gone by, they saw that, you know, when you say the word nobility, you think people of a high status in a structure,
rank,
or a system, or rank.
Yeah.
So then, you know, you can see how quickly it starts to develop into this idea that, oh, it's for chiefs, it's for noble people. But like the idea of nobility is not exclusive to chiefs in a more broad sense, you know. So you can see it how it happens.
Yeah, that's right. And that's exactly right, bro. I'll just leave it at that.
Now, this is something I'm sure you've probably had an experience with, being an artist overseas again. The idea that the moko artist must be from your iwi, you know, that holds a lot of people back. I like this artist, but they're not from my iwi. Or I live in Australia, I have an artist in Melbourne in the Gold Coast, but they're not from my iwi. Do I have to come all the way home? You know, does the moko artist have to be from your iwi?
And again, bro, it's another one of those ones. Nah.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be from your iwi, bro. Again, it goes back to that individual, your own feeling and what you're drawn to. And if that's a part of how you want to have your moko done, then by all means, bro, social media is here. You can find anyone from your iwi now.
Yeah.
But, you know, do that mahi, find that person.
Yeah.
But you don't need.
Yeah.
I firmly believe you don't need to do that, bro. Yeah, nah.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned at the beginning, you know, I've come across you relatively recently, and you've become one of my personal favorite moko artist practitioners from an artistic perspective too. You know, like I mentioned, I'm a huge fan of that very technically proficient, very clean lines. Te Haunui Tuna was like the first moko artist that I ever really fell in love with for the same kind of reasons. Lots of people love to hear, you know, who inspires you guys. So who have been your favorite moko artists and inspirations throughout your moko journey?
Oh, bro, who's, again, you know, my thing is, for me, myself, I'm fussy when it comes to finish. So that's a big part of how I do moko. So when it comes to that, bro, like, Ho is, ke konea Ho.
Right.
Ke runga no atu, you know. So absolutely, bro, when you see clean mahi, again, another kaitaha that has done mahi for yourself is Lance Ngata, you know, Simon McLeod, those fellas there, all up there, you know. But influence, bro, like from the beginning, is my bro Marcus, my bro Maki boy. He, you know, I'm grateful for the bro because, like, from that technical point of view, I suppose because he was a tattooist for a little while, you know, and then I sort of picked up some things from him. He taught me a few things, and it was very from a technical point of view. So it, straight away that clicked, and I suppose my own weird way of being a fussy fella. Right. That's, you know, that's what has had an influence on me, is that cleanliness, bro, that tidiness. And it's yeah, well, hey, in turn, the bro Ho and Marcus, they used to work together a very long time ago in a shop. But yeah, Ho, my bro Maki boy, obviously I can't forget the first sort of moko influence was my art teacher, Toyariki, Richard Francis, those fellas. And again, bro, he's one of those, you know, tutorage under Derek Lardeli, right. And then he's, you know, with Toi Aukura, one of those graduates. He's probably the same gen as the Tuakana too. But yeah, very clean from, you know, and to now cleanliness can, I don't know, bro, last the test of time, bro, I suppose. Cleanliness. And then, so that's where I get my inspiring like
Yes.
that, bro, as fellas that have their clean mahi. Oh, and there's heaps, bro, and it's not to say that people I haven't mentioned are not
Right.
clean. It's not like that, but for me, that's where it's at for my inspiration.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And just to wrap this little bit up, have you ever turned somebody away from getting moko, you know, and what was the reason?
Well, I don't know about the turned away, but I haven't. Like, yeah, there's been mahi that I politely declined,
Right.
if so to say, and that's not from a, hey, I'm the judge of who gets to wear moko or
Right.
anything like that. It's not like that at all, bro. Again, I believe it's a ahua thing, bro.
Yep.
Like, when you conversate, so most of my mahi comes through socials, bro. Starts from a message.
Yep.
And then you kind of get to know someone. And then in those short exchanges of kōrero, you some fit and some don't.
Right.
So from that case, I've definitely said no to a lot of mahi that doesn't fit for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Some reasons can be, sorry, but the whole ones, bro, is when you get people that just come straight out and it's like, che, bro, can I get this?
Right.
That's a straight away, bro, that's whole is.
Yeah.
You know, so straight away it's like, I don't even want to, you know, you can't even say hello to the bro. So I don't want to do that, mahi. Right. So things like that is how, you know, I've never ever said to someone, no, you can't have moko.
Right.
I've never said that, and I will never say that. But I've definitely politely declined, but again, if it's not something that I think I can do, bro, like achieve, I will never say yes to someone just because.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of, I'll do that because it might be, I don't know, business reasons or whatever. But I will never do that just to say yes, just because if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And so in that case, it'll be, nah. But maybe try this fellow over here. He might be able to do that for you or something like that. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that one, bro.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to know as well, because we mentioned way at the beginning, you know, before you picked up the tools, you had this period where, you know, you would provide the drawings for people, you know, to take to somebody else. But now that you are a practitioner, has that sort of approach changed at all? Like, do you accept drawings from people, or do you also accept requests to do drawings, but, you know, people go, I like your art, but I live over here, you know? Has that changed since you actually become a practitioner?
Yeah, it has. So I used to allow that back in the day. Like I would accept somebody bringing in a drawing or a design, and I'll do it for them. Yeah, you're right. There's a few different reasons. Like, firstly, to have respect for that artist, you know, give them the opportunity to, if they've designed it, why can't they do the moko?
Right.
A lot of stuff like that, bro. Yeah, I don't want to. It's like I get people, even recently I've done mahi where it's like, this is my design, and I'm like, do you want this exact design, or is it a reference? And you know what I mean? I clarified those things, but yeah, I don't like to do other people's mahi, bro.
Yeah.
Or, you know, that's, I think if you've gone to someone, but some people, again, bro, I've also done mahi, from the very talented MJC Taumoko.
Right.
He's done mahi for somebody.
Yep.
And then they've come to me to have it applied to the skin.
Right.
So, yeah, things like that. It's a little bit, I've done 2 of those.
Right.
And then in that case, I've used it as a reference. I don't want to copy anybody's mahi.
Right.
But they've had this kōrero with the bro, and that means this. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And then from what I know, the bro is not practicing moko on the skin. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that. But yeah, generally, bro, I don't like to, and I don't encourage it either, you know? But then again, if you're going to ask a moko artist who practices moko to do a design, why not just ask them to just do it?
Right.
Unless it's for something else, like a logo or something.
Right.
Hey, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I hope that answers your part time, my bro.
Yeah, cool. Now, sort of sticking to the subject of, you know, your style and what I've come to really enjoy about looking at your work. You know, Moko, obviously, like all art forms, it eventually evolves. And this is not to say that the tohu that I've seen that you use are new by any means, you know, but some of the tohu that you use are the first I've seen, I should say, of some of these symbols, you know, and I was like, wow, these are cool, these are different, you know. As a Moko artist, you know, how do you find the balance? Because, you know, also in your style, a lot of it has this quite, you know, like, you know, we talk about the cleanliness, which gives it a really old world look about it, you know, which is nice. Simple lines, you know, simple fills kind of thing, which I've always been a big fan of. But then some of the, like I said, those tohu in there are stuff that I've never seen. How do you sort of, if you do, push and find that balance between pushing the boundaries rather and evolving the art form?
Oh, bro, it's as an artist, bro, I think everyone, and I'm sure every artist would probably have a similar thing, is you kind of want to have your own style or mark, I suppose, you know, something to, and I think that's awesome that people can distinguish an artist's mahi straight away just by looking at it. For me, bro, again, going back to the fellas that I, you know, look up to and all of that, is that simplicity, and in simplicity, bro, there's complexity. I don't know if that makes sense. There's, you know what I mean? Although as simple as things look, it's very effective. And I suppose that's all if you sum it up to something, that's what I'm trying to achieve, is the effectiveness. Bro, still learning, bro. Like straight up, you know, each piece is a learning curve, and always trying to push that boundary within myself. Hey, you know, it's a very self thing.
Yes,
where you strive, you just want to keep pushing, but the ER of that, bro, is that. Nail the basics.
Right.
The simple stuff and being effective. Flow, easy flow on the eyes. And bro, perfect example, bro. The bro ho. Perfect example. Glance. The flow is very eye catching. It's very intentional. You know, the specific flows and designs used. But yeah, again. And going back to, you know, why do I do things a certain way is, well, I don't want to follow anyone.
Right.
Don't want to copy anyone. Hey, that's like a simple as way of saying it. You want to try and do your own thing, you know? Yeah.
You know, and I think it's funny that you mentioned Te Haunui there too, because I'm pretty sure it was either on the day or in a conversation elsewhere that I've heard him say, like, there's complexity in the simplicity, you know, because that's one of the big mantras, I suppose, you know, of his mahi. And, you know, one of the things that for me, you know, again, this is not to diss on anybody else's preferences of style, because if anyone just looks at the artists that I've interviewed, you'll see a whole range of different styles, you know, and different approaches to our art form. But one of the things that I did love about you, Lance, and Te Haunui is what I call readability, you know. And so from a distance, that flow, the negative space, which is a big part of our art form, is so clear and it's so crisp. And then when you're really up close, there's that complexity, the tight line work and the tight fills, and, you know, and that's where you can kind of push and pull the simplicity of the flow of the negative space, and then the complexity is in those details when you get really close. But so they look beautiful from, you know, all from right up front to way back on there. And as someone who performs on stage, you know, people are looking at me from, God, well, really small rooms, they're right up close, and then on festivals with 80,000 people, the last person is way down there, you know. And so, like, a big part for me is like that people can read it from stage photography, from the middle of a crowd, you know, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it's cool seeing how people's approach to that. With some people, they love those really, really busy, you know, almost, I call those like organic. I call those like organic styles. It feels like you're looking at the ngahere, you know, like in the forest, and it's just these like busy, natural looking things, which is a beautiful style on its own too. So like there's just a whole range.
Yeah, hard, bro. And that's bro, you hit it on the head. Like, and those fellas, they lead the way in that, you know. But that's bro, you know, if you go back to now, it's catching the eye, bro. What catches the eye? And I really think, like, even if you liken it to any kind of thing or process you're trying to suss out, simplicity is you can find a lot in simple.
Right.
You know, like you said, bro, that thing you were talking about from afar and then up close.
Yes.
You can appreciate that visual from afar and see, wow, I know what's going on there.
Right.
And then bro, ultra zoom, bro, close ups. That's where it's at again.
Yes.
That's another level of, you know, of the picture, so to speak. Yeah, I don't know, bro. Yeah. I love the detail, bro. I can sit there all day and just, bro, up close, sitting there. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Now, this is actually the last main question. You know, I'm always talking about and being asked about cultural appropriation. You know, it's one of those words, causes a lot of ruckus. There's a lot of misunderstandings about what it means, and moko and things Māori. I've always been sort of at the forefront of examples of cultural appropriation, and I'm always getting messages, examples that, you know, sometimes they're not even meant to be Māori inspired, you know, and people are like, it's a cultural appropriation of things Māori and this and that, and then sometimes there are sort of the more obvious questions, and then there's the grey area. So for you as a moko artist, in regards to moko, where is that line for you between appreciation and appropriation in pop culture media?
That's a big one, bro. Yeah, I've had my whakaaro on that, even with other cultures, things. For me, bro, like, really, what are you up to if you're trying to do moko? That's where, in terms of moko and appropriation and appreciation.
Yep.
So an example for me, bro, is how can I say and make it relevant is I get all these like Pacific Island designs. Can you do this, bro? Can you do me a piece to represent this culture? And because the way I feel towards my own culture, I want to let that out. And like, I don't know nothing about your culture, bro. Right. It would be ignorant of me and disrespectful of me to give you that. And I have no clue whatsoever on that design or those designs or, that form of art or whatever. I know nothing about it. So straight away to me, that's, in terms of this type of thing, that's appropriation. If I said yes, just to gain from it, that's appropriation. Right. Whereas appreciation, well, that's pretty straightforward, bro. But appropriation, like even I saw you talking about, what was it, bro? Like a movie or something, like Avatar.
Yep.
All of that stuff. Yep. Like, I can appreciate that. That's appreciation.
Right.
And I'm sure whoever was involved in doing all those designs, they were moko-like, but they're not moko.
That's right.
And I'm sure there would have been Kōrero there. Bro, Cliff Curtis was on there. Right. Surely he would have pointed some people in the right direction, Right. But, hey, for me, like, think that thing specifically is, bro, it was like, man.
Yep.
That's something similar to what we're going on, for our people and how we roll and, not just from that moko design, the design of their designs.
Yes.
But even how they roll, there's different iwi and different space, all of that. Like that director, I forgot his name. What's his name? Cameron or something. Bro, he loves Māori, bro.
Right.
He's made it very clear. But things like that, I say, is that's appreciation. I think it's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
People have their own opinions, but that's me.
Yeah.
I'd love to see how, going back to you fellas as well, is how you make it just outside of home in Aotearoa, and
Right.
you know, you're spreading the word, bro. That's me. That's appreciation.
Yeah.
That's how I see it, brother.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you. Well, I mean, that's a wrap. Tēnei te muhi nui ki a koe e hoa mo tō whakaaro, me tō kōrero today. Man, that was a beautifully clear, concise interview. So thank you so much for taking the time out to sit down with me this afternoon. Just to wrap us up, you know, nice and simple, advice for Māori who are thinking about getting moko.
Getting moko. Reach out to the artist and have a kōrero. Starts with kōrero, bro. Anything to do with moko starts with kōrero. Even on the other side, even if you want to get into moko, reach out to someone and ask. You know? Yeah, that's my advice, bro. If you're thinking of moko, just flick a message to any sort of, if you've got access to social media and you're following someone, there's no harm in asking, and you'll never know anything if you don't ask.
Yeah.
So that's my advice, bro.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And in terms of reaching out, just to wrap it up with this, let people know where they can find you. I mean, I obviously know what I had your Instagram socials and that, but like a booking email, other ways to contact you, other profile names, let everyone know how to get in contact.
So on Insta at Moko Ahurewa, Moko_Ahurewa on Instagram, and the same on Facebook, Moko Ahurewa. Email is Moko_Ahurewa@outlook.com. So any ways of those forms is a way to get in touch. And me.
Perfect.
Ngāmihi, brother. Thank you very much for having us on here.
No worries. My pleasure.
Thank you,
My pleasure. My pleasure.